Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Encouragement with Sarah. It is 7 o'clock. Oh my goodness. What day is it? Oh my goodness. That's how. Okay. Let's get into this. What day is it? It is May 15th, 14th? It's May 14th today. May 14th? Yeah, May 14th. May 14th. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Steve's coming in. Let's get Steve in here. Oh, okay. Wake up. Wake up. Poor kitty. Steve's taking his time. And we shall. Oh, looks like I'll advertise. Let's see what happens. Good morning, Steve. You are on board. Sort of. Not quite yet.
Good morning.
There you are. Good morning. How are you today?
All right, how about you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Little late, running late kind of today, but I'm okay. I'm a little tired.
I thought you might be waiting for people to line up to come in.
Oh, right, maybe that's, but I haven't even posted yet, so I'm gonna do that right now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Give me a clipboard. Oh my gosh, I copied so much yesterday. Okay. Encouragement. There's no link on that one. We'll see here. Okay. So Zoom calls. Zoom call. Hashtag Zoom call. Oh my gosh, people will be all over it. Okay. All right. So we posted it at 7:04. All right, let's see what happens. It's so interesting. Like, human behavior amuses me.
It's certainly funny how quick it happens.
I know, right? And I mean, like, you have a firsthand experience of that. Like, it'd be cute for just me being like, oh well, you know, this happens. But like, you can also witness how quickly, you know, this stuff. Well, I suppose I could go over and post on LinkedIn too. That usually at least attracts Michael. You know, Michael's great for coming on in. Okay, add photo. So, anything exciting for you today?
No, not really. Today's my third day of trying a new cannabis regimen.
Okay.
So after the meeting, I usually take a shower, eat, and go to sleep.
Okay. All right. Take an afternoon nap. Absolutely. That's
Yeah, like, because I'm about a half hour ago, I probably took 300 milligrams of THC.
okay.
And
Woo!
yeah, it's hard to stay awake.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You look a little red-eyed there for sure. Like maybe you've had some great. And any idea what kind of THC that was? Like where it came from?
Do you know Derek Kesick on LinkedIn? Hemp Earth?
Yeah.
It's his oil.
Oh, okay. All right. Yummy. Oh, yeah, I'm not. Oh, hey, hemp fabrics. Boom. Okay, good. So, I have been struggling, right, to find this hemp mask person. So yesterday, I yesterday, in the morning, I received an email from this investor that I've been trying to close this deal on for months in Thailand. And he says, well, due to the COVID, our board of directors have said that we're going to pull our funding and focus, in light of the global recession, all this stuff. And so I feel like I've been scammed. I feel like it was just a total lie, from the beginning. And that's really frustrating because I told people about it, and then people look at me like, well, she's just being scammed. She can't be trusted. So it really is frustrating. So
that happens a lot out there.
It's so sad. It's so sad because then people make decisions, they move forward. And I'm grateful for it, though, because I learned a lot of lessons. I moved in great power in planning further because of that promise of investment. So that was great. But sad that I don't have it because some people are counting on that money to be coming in order for me to move forward. So, all right. So what can I do? So challenging day with my son yesterday as well. And there's only so many hours in the day to get stuff done. I'm trying to stay on focus and on point, which is why I'm drinking focus tea, which is super chock full of caffeine, black tea. And, and so I'm trying to stay focused, trying to stay on point, but only so many hours in the day. And so yesterday afternoon, while I was taking my son back to his daddy's, I got a phone call from a gentleman that was on my website looking at my hemp mask post, and he said he wanted to buy hemp masks. And I said, well, right now I'm really struggling with finding a reliable supplier, but I can give you my contact information of my guys, and you can try to challenge or walk through that. Well, he said, well, we need to get you some money. He said, so I told him my mission, and he was like, okay, I love your mission, let's see what we can do. He said, I want to place an order for probably about 25,000 masks. Praise God. Okay, let's find a supplier. So talked to a guy in Russia yesterday with a wholesale cost of $5.50 a piece. Talked to a guy in Vietnam who says he thinks he can do a wholesale cost of $3.50 a piece. Finally emailed back my original guy in Nepal, and he said he can do it for $1 a piece. So praise God. And now he said they've got $100,000 or 100,000 masks in stock. So even more praise God, and they're ready to ship. So, all right. So I'm gonna contact this guy today and see if we can start getting that moving, and I can start getting some cash flow moving. And oh my gosh, finally, maybe. But it's hard because I've so many times have I gotten my hopes up, yeah, it's gonna work, and it doesn't. And so I'm really cautious to want to get my hopes up, and I'm cautious to want to get excited about things because I've just been stomped on so many freaking times.
It will happen time and time again.
Right. So it's just, but this time, so that I've had 2 individuals contact me that are interested in one individual that says, now this is so far the emails seem very legitimate, but until there's a Zoom call or a voice call, and until money changes hands, I'm not taking too much of it serious. But there's a gentleman from Syria who is not interested any longer in investing in his country because their economy has collapsed due to the war there in Syria. And so he wants to bring his family of 4 to the States, and he contacted me saying that he wanted to invest $22 million into something that would, make, but he doesn't want to come as a refugee. He wants to come as an investor. I was like, whoa, okay. So this is an opportunity for me to get funds for that fiber processing plant that I'm really, really looking at. And of course, my business. But then some other guy contacted me and said he's working with a group of Russian government officials and politicians that are interested in investing in the same kinds of things. So I'm going, all right, well, who knows? I just kind of first step is always send the proposals and see what they think, and then, go from there. But if I
The
can get
Russians, the Russians should be able to supply a plant
yeah,
if
that's true.
they're serious.
Yeah, that's true.
And the plant that you said you're looking at, what's the capacity of it?
7 tons an hour, I think. Hey, apparently Twitter's not picking up my post today, so that's fine. Yeah, it's that Mr. Robert Zeiner one. I have it. Do I have it right here? No, I have it it's in his message. I think it's 7 tons an hour, I think. Something like, what did we decide? Something big. Robert Zeiner. There it is. There it is. So he says it needs 35 million in order to start it. And it's downloading, but it's taking a while. And the capacity, because it can be for whatever. Oh, good. Hey, boom. Hi, Michael. Hey, dude. Perfect timing.
That's a pretty decent size. It's like 60,000 tons a year.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the document to download, but like I said, he needs 35 million for the processing plant, and it runs on artificial intelligence. So it's supposed to increase, processing and efficiency, and that will, and I've got a great space that I think will work, but he wants something like 30,000 square feet of all high ceilings. And I've got about 10,000, 15,000 square feet of high ceilings. So because Alaska's industry is going to start out small, it might be okay for us to start with a little bit smaller space and, go from there. But we don't have like.
Sometimes it doesn't work that way though.
You're right. It might not.
Yeah.
Work.
You're talking about Zimmerman's Technology?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know those guys. I've been talking to them for a couple of years now. And I just got all their information. It's definitely a very detailed and thought out process.
Yeah.
I don't know, how much significantly better it is than others, but I can tell you it's definitely thought out, and it's meant for large, like facility extraction, like central location. I think it's designed. I mean, I would assume, especially it's, Canadian company, it was designed to put somewhere in, northern, America with all the fiber stuff.
His current plant is 50,000 tons a year. His next idea is 300,000 tons a year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be incredible I haven't talked to him yet. I'm kind of waiting for all the pieces to come together, but, I do plan on talking to him about putting that in the Native Tribes, strategy, as one of the tools, like technologies I'll be bringing to the table. Like I'm going to basically just offer all these different technologies from all these different resources, and they can pick and choose what they want to put together and in what, time frame. But his process will be, on the front end. I am looking at some other technologies. It just depends on like, size, like kind of Steve's talking about. Like that's really important. Some of those, like there are technologies that are being developed to be able to harvest and decorticate right on the field. And that would be extremely helpful,
Yeah.
But, but then you still have all the other problems of logistics when it comes to finishing goods and things like that. It's not going to solve everything. So having, essential locations. So, I know that, we're talking about putting 3 in Canada, 1 central in the United States, and a couple in South America. And, if his technology is as good as it says, he'll he'll be in there, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at a building right now that's 37,000 square feet, and it's all 100% empty, and it's got like 3 loading dock bays, and it's got about half of it that is high ceiling, high cube, you know, ready for that kind of processing. It will look great. Then we have we've got a big open kind of just empty concrete floor space with some nice front windows that could make a good general smaller processing space. But then there's a massive space that's got like cubicles and office area, and then there's a whole nother space to it that's got like a couple of back warehouses, but then front office space. It's just a super unique building, and I know that we can use it. Like I was thinking just yesterday, I lost my investor yesterday, and so I'm back at square one of seeking funds. And a gentleman called yesterday wanting 25,000 masks. So I reached out yesterday to my supplier in India for fabric, thinking that maybe we could commit at least the cubicle area to a sewing space, you know, a textile processing space.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I've been talking to those guys in India about getting a crate over here and distributing it, because someone has to take that jump in that initial investment of getting the material over here so that the business can build. Like, and, you know, like that's one of the problems with this technology, right? That he's talking about. It's awesome, but that you have to have enough like back end to sell it all, you know. I mean, it's like these processors in the hemp space right now, they're spending millions of dollars in processing equipment, but how are they going to get all their money back when they're competing against, you know, 100 other processors for that 8,000, you know, whatever. So I'm right with you on all those like scale, but that building you have sounds phenomenal, like the facility.
It is, and I think what I'm going to do, I took little video snapshots of each thing, so I'm going to put it all together in one video and try to present that, because I've got 2 processors right now that are interested in coming to Alaska, and so, but I need money, and I just got a couple of emails from individuals that yesterday that are interested in putting forth large sums of money like that. So I've just got to, and the government, right? And the views from our government. What was that about, Steve? The views from our government.
Oh, that was, they could change the views of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
That was just an addition.
Right? That's the thing right now, is that I feel like
if they do it, they're going to benefit no matter what.
Yeah.
But the government's not going to benefit. But the government's going to see the benefits from it.
Well, the second that I hear Donald Trump say the word hemp, we've done our job. You know, the second that I hear Donald Trump say hemp is what's going to make America great again, awesome, we've done our job. Like, that's a step in the right direction. So it's something that, man, I'm working on every day to get him to notice. Like, I'm all over Twitter. I'm like just trying to get him to notice this stuff. And it's coming, no doubt it's coming, because there's others, you know, I'm not the only one. And so we just, we keep the course, man, that's it, just keep the course. And I'm not giving up, dude. You know, yesterday I hit my knees in tears, did lots of repenting, was like, I'm so sorry, Father. And so I moved past that, but it's just, I need a divine strategy right now. I think the hemp industry as a whole needs a divine strategy in order to overcome these giants of Goliaths of the oil industry and the lumber and these like embedded things.
Yeah, I think there has to be divine strategy. That's the only way that it's going to come out. Yeah. And I think that the repression and all of the energy to hold it back, you know, only allows us the energy to move forward. But I think that, you know, the biggest part is the industry coming together. You know, and I don't really see it happening. I wish, right? But you know, if
what do you think stands in the way? I ran into.
You want me to be honest? Indoctrination.
Of course. Okay.
I believe that we've been educated and indoctrinated and that we all are so brainwashed that we don't realize what's going on.
Okay.
I 100% don't think that people understand what's going on when it comes to cannabis and hemp, period. Like, I am very rare, and you're maybe very rare, and Steve's very rare in the perspective that we understand that it's a technology release. And it is not about medicine. I mean, medicine's important, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
It's about free energy. It's about free food. It's about all of the things that it gives you as a divine being to be able to provide for yourself and provide for your family and provide for the animals and the nature around you, you know. And so it's a huge, it's very difficult to deal with. And that's why personally, like, I mean, I'm an inventor and I know that I can't invent anything without help, because you know, you either need customers, there's pieces to it. You can't do anything by yourself in this world. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can say they did it by themselves. Like Bill Gates says he invented the computers, but you know, the real truth is that that's not the way it works.
Steve Jobs helped him.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's other people that help you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody gets full credit.
You know, but, you know, and so I've been focusing and targeting the indigenous tribes because I believe that they have the power now to step up in their own divine, you know, rights as nations to come together and say, look at the United States government, or, you know, the government of your, you know, current modern world has proven to be disjustice to us. Look at all the crimes to humanity that are happening. Look at all these things. And that we have learned from your mistakes. We've decided to live in unfailing love and unconditional love, and realize that we forgive you, and there's nothing we can do to make, you know, those wrongs change. We just have to forgive and move forward, because that gratitude and forgiveness energy is something that you guys didn't learn, but we've learned and had to find inner soul, because we've been tortured so much and killed. The only way was to our inner divine being. And so, you know, my strategy of, you know, utilizing this project that I'm working on to build my incubator for the indigenous tribe people through the nonprofit, you know, could potentially be that divine way that we can get to holding that intellect in an institution. It's part of what I've been designing, and it's not about hemp. It's about creativity.
It's about self-sustainability.
No, it's about creativity and intellect and innovation being harvested for the world, you know, not for people. That we're going to steward it for the world and put it in a place where it can actually bloom. And that's something that is extremely powerful. And if you look at, you know, Harvard, Yale, you know, look at these institutions that hold intellect that are worth billions and are interconnected, you know, MIT, you know, that are interconnected with these companies in a way that they can never be taken out. You know?
Have you heard of this idea yet? Hemp fiber being used as like a circuit board for memory.
Of course. I mean, you could create superconductors and you create graphene. So you can layer them and you can create batteries and computers.
I can't wait for that. Yes.
You know, it's a technology release, but the good, it's not like hemp is the spark to the creativity release of the world. You know, like they've been harvesting the United States intellect. They put you in school, they figure out how smart you are, then they put you in their like category so they can harvest your intellect.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a great way to put it. Oh my gosh,
it's not, and the whole education system is like that. I mean, through all the way through, you know, graduation, through colleges and PhDs, it's all about harvesting your intellect.
Yes.
Why do we give it to the universities? Why do we give it to them? We do because they educated us, right? Well, you know, if we create a new education, you know, platform, and we educate each other as a planet, and we help each other invent and design, and we inspire our young children to do whatever the hell they want to learn, because any learning is good, you know, like specifying kids to learn one thing or another isn't to their detriment. Their gifts are their gifts, whether it be music or, you know, art or
teach him to
singing.
read and write and let him go.
Who cares? Those things will happen, but the reading and writing will happen while learning those other things. It's not like they're going to miss them.
Sure.
It's just that they're not going to come in the way you think that they're going to happen, right? You're learning music, you're going to learn, you know, and I'm not even a music person, but you're going to learn like a lot of math, you know, like between like all the different sounds and vibrations, you know, learning physics. And I mean, they're all interconnected in a way you can't separate down. Knowledge is not separated in categories the way we perceive them.
I think in our society too, you know, we've seen this, at least here in the States, we've seen this traditional move of, okay, well, we have to cut education because our governor or our politicians are spending too much money, right? We've heard that narrative that they're spending so much money, so we have to cut essential human services like education and healthcare. And the first thing to cut, what's the first thing they always cut? Creativity, right? They cut art now.
Jails. That's what they need to cut. Cut the jail population.
And then
stop paying for prisoners.
Industrial hemp prison program right here. Okay, make the prisoners make money. Okay, they need to heal. I get it, but they need to be making money while they're healing. They need to be giving back to society while they're healing. They get in there and they get even more broken, you know, because they're in these places of no hope. You know, and it's just sad. I agree. Our prison population needs serious changing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, cut things that aren't really essential. Like, you know, we don't have to, you know, have, you know, marijuana people in jail right now or violent, you know, nonviolent.
Sometimes, let's just call it out. All drugs, period, need to stop being criminalized. Okay, you cannot criminalize a substance or an addiction. Okay, like that's ridiculous. That's a lower level thinking space. That's not a higher awakened species space. And so we've got to just stop that as a human species. Yeah.
So, you know, so I look at it as a technology release, and I've watched that in the industry in the last 3.5 years. I've had this beautiful gift of being very nimble compared to most people because I'm not running a processing facility. I'm a representative, so I'm representing technology cultivars. You know, I'm not like focusing on building. I'm trying to build the pieces together and put the puzzle together for people, not necessarily build the castle. With the native thing, it's kind of building the castle, right? Putting the pieces together. But I had to find the right project that I really was desired to work on, you know, and who I wanted to work for, which was the most important part, right? Like, where am I giving my intellect in the same context? So, you know, but the education side, I think, is going to be something that we're going to see drastically change, and it is an opportunity. And I think that these all can be synergetical and, you know, make the president look really amazing, right? So, like, if we could build, you know, this infrastructure for food and fiber and all these pieces and help build our infrastructure for the first time in a long time.
Foundation, absolutely.
We can actually tap the same creativity that we've seen in the coronavirus in the respects of all these businesses coming out with all these new ideas and getting excited. But if we could create an incubator on hemp like that and focus on how this is a technology release, this is something that people aren't like, I know that everybody's thinking about the medicine side, but this is a war going on right now. We're in war times. We need to be thinking about food. We need to be thinking about keeping our public home. Like, if he came out and actually talked about the technology release, forget coming out like I know about black budget projects. I know you could come out with free energy or like anti-gravity technology or whatever else you got in the back room. But don't do that. Just come out with hemp and let the population come up with the ideas. And then go, oh, well, we've had that in the government for 100 years. You know what I mean? But we even told you about it. But now you invented it and we can make it public. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yep. I agree with that completely. Here in Alaska, you know, we have a massive native population, right? Our native Alaskan population. But we have a very depressed native Alaskan population, and they are, many of them struggle with alcoholism, they struggle with domestic violence, they struggle with no purpose and no purpose.
I mean, come on. Here's the deal. All those
poverty.
addiction things are things that we created, right? By taking hemp away.
Yeah.
Hemp helps you not have addiction problems because your cannabinoids are filled. You don't feel the urge to fill your cannabinoids.
Yep.
I mean,
Sure.
you know, the nutritional problems, like when you are in pain and hurting because you don't have proper nutrition and you're not taking care of yourself, drinking is an escape, you know, and it's given to you and you're provided it. You go and you find your escapes. I mean, we've been trying to kill them for centuries, you know, so it's not like, you know, and so those are like the wartime, like doing something and giving back to those people and going to them and saying, well, you know best already. You know how to get back to the land better than we do. And we forgot. Please help us. And come with humility. And I know that would be very difficult, but, you know, but if he came out very strong and said, these are all the amazing things. And because we know that these are connected to, you know, to the tribes, and they have the most amount of land and the ability to be able to make this happen immediately for us, we're going to partner with them and have some interrelationships that we haven't had in centuries, in partnerships to be able to solidify our country, because the natives are not going to have a great America to live in if the U.S. government's not doing well.
We're not going to have a great anything to live in. So nobody's going to have anything to live in if the U.S. government falls apart. Like we're really, but where I see this and where I've seen this going for a long time is something called the Federated States of America. Okay, where we are not united. We must be clear. We are not united as states any longer. We're very much our own kind of creations as states. And maybe the founding fathers kind of foresaw that at some point states would become so independent upon themselves that they would be able to take care of themselves and no longer have to depend so highly on that centralized federal government. So there's some things the federal government does great, which is managing airways, you know, they manage interstate commerce really well. But intrastate commerce, healthcare for individual states, and education for individual states needs to be managed at the state level. It needs to be managed at the smaller population levels and not at a mass like, oh, let's apply these huge policies to everyone that have different programming. You know, they have different value systems and expect them to live into that. It's not going to work. We've got to get a little bit more centralized, or rather, I don't know, you know, control to that state side. And so that's kind of where I see it. Alaska has the potential to be her own country. However, you know, both Russia and the U.S. wants to control us because we're a great asset. And I just don't want to see that any longer. I want this like sense of, well, we have to control everything to go away. I want this belief to let go and let live. Be more
start stewarding, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, we don't control anything. We steward the planet. We're here to be, you know, participate and enjoy in the moments that we have on it, and go forward and leave it better than we came to. You know.
Yes.
So I don't see, you know, that's there's going to have to be a change in mental perspective. I mean, in all those pieces. And I do think that like what you're talking about really fits well with my educational plan. I mean, I sent you that yet?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
But, you know, I designed a new education plan, gave it to New York State for free 10 years ago, and they lost it. I mean, they didn't lose it, but they pushed me off the docket. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted charter schools. But the reality is that that's coming up very heavily. And the part of it is that we are all unique communities. Just like we're all unique individuals, each community is unique and has unique gifts and has unique talents that need to be shared with the world. Yeah. And we've been like unifying our education and our mindset that every place has to be the same, where really we just need to express those things and allow them to flourish, and then share them with the world and pass it on. You know, I mean, there has to be, I mean, I understand that there's a trade problem going on right now between countries, but if there was a mindset of free trade, there wouldn't be that issue. There's only an issue because there isn't a mindset of free trade. Yep. But, you know, so
the economic sanctions,
we can push these things. And then we can have warehouses, right? Mm-hmm. Who in Alaska needs a warehouse where it stores goods, just like Amazon stores goods for their delivery systems that would deliver these pieces. And so anybody in the network would get delivered their piece in return for their barter of their piece. Right? And it doesn't even need to be money exchange. It needs to be gifts exchange from one community's gifts to another community, and make a trade. And then you have a warehouse in the community that holds it for all of Alaska, or all of this section, you know, this native tribe or whatever, and distributes it to the people, because that was what they created. And then there's, you know, and then we are creating internal and values for communities that can't be replaced. I mean, for me, it was one of these gifts that I happened to have one day, sitting in a place working on getting my car fixed, and this guy's a specialist on gears, like, you know, big geared clocks and, like, you know, windmills and things like that, from, like, you know, ancient big gears. He's like, I'm the only one in the world knows how to do this. You know, like, there's only 3 or 4 people in the world that know how to fix these gears. When it's all over with, kids aren't learning the math of how these big gears go together, and, you know, and it's a lot of things I learned in the trade. Well, those are the things that are lost, was like all the little pieces in the knowledge that wasn't passed. One, it wasn't a teacher. It wasn't somebody that maybe could write it down. You know, he was an oral teacher. He needed somebody to come say, I want to learn. And we didn't even allow the kids to go to the community and learn from them. You know, they're stuck at school. They can't go learn from the guy down the road, the mechanic shop, and watch him for the day.
But the opposite too is they're not just stuck at school. Their heads are in an iPad, or their heads are in a video game, or their heads are in an iPhone. And they're not realizing that if they don't pay attention now to what's going on around them, they're going to get outpaced by a robot, right? Yeah. They're going to get outpaced by artificial intelligence, and all of a sudden their life won't matter. It's not that it won't matter to the Lord. It always matters to the Lord, but it won't matter to the economy. And so all of a sudden, if you're not, you know, if you don't keep your skills, if you're not valuable to the marketplace, you're not going to get paid, and you can't eat, right? So, like, this concept of universal basic income is coming to pass, but people are really fearful that people just get lazy. Well, they're just going to get paid. They'll sit around and play video games all day. That is a big fear. And I totally can see that happening. So we've got to do some sort of, like, awakening.
I see a dichotomy, honestly, and I've seen this a long time. I think that there'll be a dichotomy in our planet. It's the only way that Mother Nature will have it anyway, because it's going to respect the decision of the divine person to decide to be evil. Like, and I hate to say that, but, you know, we've watched this in this chat for sure with all these people showing. Like, those people are going to exist, and they're just going to not be able to deal with our field eventually, because it will just be repulsive to them. And they'll be the group of people that are building the communities that are, you know, more enlightened and ready to move on. And, you know, the other people just won't see it, because they just won't be able to see the beauty. You know, they're going to be stuck in the realm of fear and lust, you know, anger and resentment. Self-sabotage. So, like, I agree with you in the piece of that. Some of these people are just going to be, you know, passed with the time. They're just how the life goes, and their perspective of what their divine path is. You know, that's their choice. But there will be these other people that will come up. And when you say there's not gifts to be traded, like art, song, music, all these pieces are going to come and be valuable again when we have money to spend on things we enjoy. Like, why would we not spend things we enjoy and love and bring happiness if we could? The problem is they've kept us enslaved and poor for so long, and thinking we're not enriched with other gifts that isn't money, that they can't, that's so valuable that they can't even put $1 to it. That creativity that they've been harvesting, and people will start appreciating those things. And so I don't, you know, I see a whole new, like, thing happening where there'll be a divide in economies. And that's why I think it's so important to connect the indigenous tribes, to kind of connect the light seekers. Because, you know,
bring them to the light. And that's why I work so hard, because, you know, my mentor put it best. He said, look, half will agree and half will disagree. And even the book of Revelation says there will be mass death. We're going to have a depopulation of the planet. And it's not necessarily something that is like the evil people are trying, and yes, in a way I think it is, but at the same time we've got to step up. Like mentally, we have, that's what separates us from the robots, right? Robots don't have divine strategy. Robots don't have divine connection, but they can outthink us if we let them. And so we've got to separate ourselves some way from that. But I really want to appreciate you, Michael, for your statement of this is a technology release. And with every technology release comes pain and comes challenge and comes a little bit of darkness before the dawn. And so people, you know, are either going to be on board with it and they're going to push through and they're going to be innovators and they're going to be strong, or they're just going to want to live in the old ways. And the challenge that we face right now is a lot of our native Alaskan communities are connected to oil, right? They get an annual dividend every year. Sorry for anyone future, but many of our Alaskan natives will live on this dividend that they get. Maybe they get a $6,000 dividend once a year from the oil revenues, and that's what they live on all year long. And then, you know, and so that,
yeah, and so like when the Dow, when the barrel is negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the barrel is negative now.
Yeah.
The money's not going to come anymore. What happens when you don't get that 6,000 check and now you're dead?
Yeah.
Literally. So, you know, having biodiesel or having the food in the food, I mean, even just growing an acre or whatever, a couple plants is important at that point in time for your survival. Right. So, I mean, I'm 100% with you on that. And that's where the free energy and all the technologies out of hemp need to come about, because, you know, like people need them desperately. Like we need to have, I mean, it's not even that hard. Like you can create biochar. I mean, biochar now I think is $40,000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. You create biochar, and biochar is essentially charcoal and can heat your house and give you energy. I mean, it's not like, you don't have to be like crazy superconductors, Tesla technology to get energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Energy is relative. Mm-hmm. Wind isn't free.
Right.
Geo and heat is not free. You're taking it from somewhere.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like solar energy is not free. It's coming from that. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking solar energy that's harvested by the plant and you're converting it into a fuel, and then you're burning it and creating energy. So like there's lots of ways to do that with hemp. And it's not that.
I'm going to step it back. Steve, it was 50,000 tons annually. 7 tons an hour for that. Okay. It finally came up. Thank you. Exactly. So energy, that's one of the things. And so that's my newsletter this week is Taylor Calix out of North Carolina has written me a really good article, The Pros and Cons of Hemp Biofuel. And so I'm really looking forward to putting that out to my mailing list today. Or, well, we'll see sometime this week. And really start looking at that because Alaska is just, I mean, our governor still refuses to say the word hemp, you know, publicly, no matter how much I poke and prod at him. So I keep going and I keep trying. But you know, that's all we can do is we're on the right side of history, and that's what feels good. Is knowing we're on the right side of history.
Let's talk about that. So how many times have you contacted the Indigenous Tribes?
3, 4 times, and none of them respond.
Right.
And I've given them like the breakdown of like hemp is hope, put a 10,000 square foot, you know, grow facility in each of your lands, you know, just at a minimum to get started. This is what it'll do, provide jobs, you know, all this stuff. I give them kind of the breakdowns, just no responses. I got one response that said, it's just not in our investment portfolio right now. And I'm going, and of course that's when oil was still above $40 a barrel, right? So no big deal. Now they might be changing their story. And when I got that response, my initial internal divine said, just wait, Sarah.
Yeah.
And now I know. Like
I'm feeling the same thing. So like my intuition is saying that, I mean, I appreciate the pounding of the governor, but I just have a feeling he's just not going to be responsive.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
maybe that'll work out to my benefit.
Well, right. And, if you could partner with the tribes and we can get, I can get you free seed for them for sure. Obviously with the Indigenous Seed Bank,
Right.
they could immediately, get something. Anything in the ground right now is super important. People don't understand how important it is. Like, I don't.
Even if I get
scary.
one grower registered and going, yay, like I got something. And that's where I'm at right now is we've got.
It's not even like, I'm trying. I'm not trying to get emotional about it, but like the reality of our planet right now and the fact that anything that goes in the ground this year that's for food and fiber is going to be so important in 9 months that people do not have any idea of how important it is to plants. Like, I'm not a farmer. I can't do that. Like, I don't have the land. I don't have the ability to do that. But, the reality is that nothing is going to go to waste next year. It's not going to be like CBD, especially with grain and fiber. Yeah. And it's going to be a hot commodity, and it's going to be worth a lot of money. And it's going to be a year of hemp and, for hemp, for fiber and grain, because there's going to be a heavy demand, and it's not going to be like as crazy money as CBD, but it's going to be, life-saving to your farm or your family if you actually buy.
People over profits. It'll be profitable, sure, not crazy profitable, but it'll be profitable enough that we feel like, okay, we can keep going with this, but we feel satisfied in our soul that we helped people and we helped keep people alive.
Yes, but it's more than that in the respects that it's actually about like keeping your family alive and keeping your farm alive, because it's a crop that actually will pay. You're not going to lose everything. You're not going to win everything, but you actually made a living. You provided provided for other people, because it's still going to be dominated by, the processor, and the farmer's not going to make a ton of money. It's going to at least, be of huge value because there's not going to be enough of it. And then next year it'll go back down to, the year after that it'll go down to more normal prices, and 3 years it'll be to probably what the commodity will hold for a while,
Right. So this is why I'm really interested in the self-containment of industries, okay? Of, New York really focusing on buying from New York. Alaska really focusing on buying from Alaska. Pennsylvania really focusing on buying from Pennsylvania. Because when you can self-contain that industry to build a solid foundation, it doesn't matter what happens outside your borders if you can have something you can count on within a drivable distance, right? Because if all of a sudden, once again, our airplanes don't have any capability to fly, how do we get products here and there? Well, that's okay, we can drive to it, okay? So the self-containment and the reducing of size, everybody's thinking on scaling up and going global, that's great, but we just learned a lesson that if a virus or anything shuts us down from global transport, that shuts us down from our supply lines, right? So if we then can say, no, we're going to bring it indoors, we're going to bring it into our state, not in an isolationist, like we don't want to do business with you way, but in a way that says, hey, we understand self-sustainability, taking care of our people that we can reach first, and then moving on to other people with our excess, right? But it seems like many companies go, well, I'm going to produce for a global population first, and then care about my surrounding people second. And maybe the script should be flipped on that one a little bit. Oh,
I see it both ways. Steve, do you say something on that?
That was a chat. It's Steve.
Oh.
We got 2 minutes left here.
Yeah, I was going to say yes and no. Like, I disagree with that, because the only reason why I disagree with that is a lot of people just think that they can do something better than other people. And without natural trade between states, how do you prove that you're really doing it better? So like New York State thinks that they have the best CBD program, and that, and they're not going to allow other CBD products to come in the state. I guess to me, it's just very difficult coming from a black market into a white market, into a black market again.
Right. No, I'm not talking about like a legalistic way of doing this.
I'm not saying that we should ban trade in any way. Keep the free market trade going.
Yeah, but New York State's
Absolutely.
banning all other hemp products other than New York, you know, and Massachusetts did the
Right.
same thing, you
No.
know, so, you know, like
I'm
not
saying
keeping
that-
free trade and building I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
we, you know, that there's not there's a clarification. We need to build local infrastructures so that we can be self-sustaining,
Right.
period.
Right.
Whether
Right.
it be hemp or
Right,
food
but
or
don't ban free trade. Allow free trade to go,
Yeah.
because that creates more mind expansion of ideas and all of that stuff. Absolutely, I agree with
well,
that.
and it doesn't create like mobsters that own it, like own areas, right? Like
Yeah,
if
share
you own a whole
technology. Yep.
school,
Yep.
you know, and now you know, like it's the gold. I mean, I like talking about the diamonds. Like diamonds are really interesting to me. Like, you know, we have plenty of diamonds on the earth. They're only valuable because we hide them, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, so like you get some, you know, guy to hide all the like hemp. Let's just say we make hemp food, right?
Right.
And we don't have protein from other sources because they've all gone wayside. Growing animals and slaughtering animals is not allowed in our population anymore. It's called cruelty. Who
Right.
knows? You know what I mean? Like,
we're gonna lose the call in about.
let's talk another time. We've had a great conversation today.
God
I
bless
love
you guys.
you, and I
you
appreciate
guys.
Steve and everybody else here. You guys are doing awesome.
All right, this one's going on YouTube. I love you. We'll see you soon. Bye.